What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Saturday, August 26th, 2023, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 11:46 a.m. here in Pennsylvania, and we have some interesting developments coming out of Poland. Apparently, one of the Polish railroads was either hacked or one of their radio systems was used by an unauthorized person or group. And basically, this unauthorized entity broadcasted to the Polish railroad workers to stop the trains. And this was in northwestern Poland in the province of Western Pomerania, and some major cities in Poland were affected by this train stoppage, including Szczecin, Gdynia, Kołobrzeg, and a bunch of others. And these are major port cities on the Baltic Sea. And what's interesting is that there was a message played over the radio that included the Russian national anthem. So that's absolutely insane. Could it have been the work of the Russian military or Russian intelligence? Very possible. So I'm going to play that for you in a second. But before I get more into that, I want to talk about the tropical situation. So we have a lot of activity here. We have a tropical disturbance in between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba, and it has a 90% chance of development, and it's heading north into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, right towards Florida, and it's expected to turn into a tropical depression. So let me read to you exactly what the National Hurricane Center is saying. Environmental conditions appear conducive for further development of this system, and a tropical depression is likely to form within the next day or two while it moves generally northward over the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. Interests in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, western Cuba, and Florida should monitor the progress of this system. And they have a 70% chance of development in the next 48 hours and a 90% chance of development in the next 7 days. The water temps in the Gulf of Mexico are really high, definitely warm enough for development. We also have Hurricane Franklin. It's going to turn into a major hurricane, but it's going to stay out at sea and not affect the eastern seaboard. But they're showing Hurricane Franklin turning into a major hurricane sometime Monday morning. So that's a Category 3 or higher hurricane, and then it's going to weaken once it gets north of Bermuda. So the eastern seaboard dodging a bullet with this one, because if it was just, another 1,000 miles or not even 500 miles to the west, and the whole eastern seaboard would be dealing with this monster storm. Okay, so let me get back to the situation in Poland with these trains that were hacked or whatever, however it was done. This broadcast to the rail workers telling them to stop the trains. I want to play this video for you. This is the actual recording that the Polish workers were hearing, and there was the Russian national anthem played. And this is a Bofang radio. I don't know if this was an actual rail worker that filmed this video or if this was just an amateur radio enthusiast. But let me play this for you guys. So this was, I'm guessing, a frequency used by the Polish state-run rail agency PKP, and so I don't know who broadcasted this and how, but they were the workers were instructed to stop the trains. They heard announcements on their radios to stop the trains. Okay, so this is absolutely insane, guys. I'm telling you, the war in Ukraine is escalating dramatically, and it's spilling over into neighboring countries. There's already been several missiles that landed in Poland. There was one that was fired by Russia, and somehow it ended up in northwestern Poland. And then there was another one that was right on the border of Poland that killed two farmers. And NATO said that it was a Ukrainian air defense missile, which I don't believe. And now this. And then, of course, the buildup of troops in Belarus right on the border of Poland and Latvia and Lithuania. We do know that in just 2 days, on August the 28th, that's Monday, Poland and the Baltic countries are going to be discussing a total border closure with Belarus. Okay. And just a few days ago, the U.S. State Department issued a warning for all Americans in Belarus to leave immediately because they think that there might be some border closures. And so if you're an American in Belarus, you won't be able to get out. I don't know how many Americans are in Belarus. I'm sure there's probably very little, but um, pretty crazy situation. And we also have some interesting news coming out of Belarus related to the war spilling over into neighboring countries. The president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, said that there's going to be some kind of training exercises going on the border of Poland in Belarus with members of the CSTO. The CSTO is like a Russian NATO, and it's like Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, and a few other countries. And he's saying that they're going to be doing some exercises together right on the border of Poland. And he said specifically, I'll read to you what he said. There will be small units from the countries that are members of the CSTO. Poland does not need to worry. Okay, so he's saying small units, which I don't believe they're going to be small. So a pretty crazy situation. And apparently, senior NATO officials met with Ukraine's army chief Valery Zaluzny on the Poland-Ukraine border recently to reset Ukraine's military strategy. Okay, that's very interesting. Reset Ukraine's military strategy. I'm not sure what that means. There was another drone attack on Moscow last night. A Ukrainian drone was shot down by Russian air defenses in the town of Istra in the Moscow region. There was not any damage or casualties. This was announced by the mayor of Moscow, Sergei Sobyanin. So Ukraine is continuing to send those drones to Moscow, and what I think they're trying to do is just basically interfere with the normal functioning of Moscow's airports, and kind of rattle Moscow a little bit without actually doing it. It's not so much that they have to damage something with those drones. It's just the fact that they're sending them over there. It forces Russia to shut down their airports in Moscow. Like when this drone was shot down, they had to shut down the entire airport over there in Moscow. And anytime these drones come over to Moscow, they have to shut down the airports, so it has an impact on the region. So let me just read this article to you. I forgot I had this article about these railroads that were shut down in Poland. Attack on the railway traffic safety system. Someone stopped more than 20 trains and broadcasted the Russian national anthem. Paralysis of train traffic in the Szczecin area on Friday night. Someone using railway frequencies was broadcasting a signal, triggering an emergency stop of trains. And during the break, the Russian national anthem and a fragment of Putin's speech were played. Unofficial information about the hacker attack coming directly from the railway workers was received by the newspaper on Friday late in the evening. We also had the opportunity to personally hear signals disorganizing railway traffic and recording with Putin's words and the aforementioned anthem broadcast on railway frequencies. So absolutely crazy, guys. What exactly happened? Someone hacked into the radio stop rail traffic security system. It is not complicated. It is based on radio signals. How does it work in practice? A simple example: a train driver sees another train coming from the opposite direction on the same track. On the radio that he has in his cabin, he presses the alarm button. Then a signal is sent, 3 consecutive tones of different frequency. This causes all trains that are within the range of the alarm radio to stop automatically. So that's crazy, guys. According to information, someone using railway frequencies started with the help of his own radio, almost constantly transmitting the alarm signal. Is it complicated? No, the sound of the alarm signal is always the same. Only the broadcast frequencies for individual routes are different. Both the sound of the alarm signal and the frequencies for different routes are no big secret. You can easily find them on the internet. Frequencies are not encrypted. Okay, so this is the equivalent of, like, if you had a Bofang radio and you were listening into your local sheriff's office and they didn't have an encrypted frequency, you could literally transmit on that frequency with your Bofang, and it would, interfere with the police or sheriff's deputies using that frequency in your area. In many places, you can do that here in the U.S., which is obviously I think that's a felony, major crime. You can't do that, but physically you could, So they probably just used a Bofang radio and just literally played the Russian anthem, and they probably clipped together the anthem and Putin's speech on their computer, and they held the radio next to their computer and just hit the transmit button on those frequencies. So that's just absolutely insane. The alarm signal began to broadcast somewhere in the Szczecin area around 9 p.m. It was received on both trains and at traffic posts. The signal stopped trains on line 273 and on line 351. Both routes have different frequencies on which an emergency signal can be broadcasted. It was sent almost constantly, almost at approximately at 22, the Russian national anthem sounded in the radio telephones. According to our information, the Polish railway company has already notified the Railway Protection Guard, blah, blah, blah. So that's absolutely crazy, guys. And apparently these weren't passenger trains. It seems like these were freight trains. But I'm not able to verify that right now at the moment. It looks like mostly freight trains. Okay, that's what I'm reading here. And the Russian ruble continues to slide. Here we have the Russian ruble compared to the dollar over the last 5 days, and you can see it's continuing to go down even after they raised interest rates 3.5%. And if we go back to the last year, you can see it's steadily going down. So looks like Russia could have an economic crisis very, very soon. And finally, I want to just give a shout out to a friend of mine, and he's also a moderator on my channel, Smokin' Swamp Outdoors. He's trying to get his YouTube channel started. He's going to be doing mostly outdoors content like hiking, fishing, camping, and things like that, gardening. And he's got a really good channel here. He's located in rural Florida, and he's a great guy. He's been a supporter of mine for a while. So check out his channel, Smokin' Swamp Outdoors, and I'll leave a link in the comments section to his channel. I'll pin a comment. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's the latest information that I have. I'll keep you updated. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere.